Sugar is not just a substance, it is a story, a silent companion that has walked beside humanity for centuries, shaping empires, fueling revolutions, and quietly weaving itself into the fabric of our daily lives. Imagine the first moment when ancient civilizations stumbled upon the sweetness hidden within the stalks of sugarcane, a taste so pure and intoxicating that it felt like a gift from the heavens. That sweetness was not just flavor, it was power, it was desire, it was temptation wrapped in crystalline form. From the fields of India where sugarcane first grew wild, to the bustling trade routes that carried it across oceans, sugar became more than food, it became currency, it became a symbol of wealth, and eventually it became an addiction that humanity could not resist. In the beginning, sugar was rare, a luxury reserved for kings and emperors, a delicacy that whispered of status and privilege. To taste sugar was to taste the extraordinary, to step into a world where sweetness was scarce and therefore sacred. But as centuries passed, the cultivation of sugar spread, and with it came plantations, labor, and the dark shadow of exploitation. The sweetness that delighted palates was built upon the sweat of workers, upon the chains of slavery, upon the relentless hunger of empires that sought profit at any cost. Sugar was not innocent, it was a commodity that carried with it the weight of human suffering, and yet its allure never faded. The world changed as sugar became abundant. It entered kitchens, it entered bakeries, it entered the hearts of children who tasted joy in candies and desserts. It became the silent architect of celebrations, the centerpiece of festivals, the hidden ingredient in comfort. Birthdays, weddings, holidays, all of them carried sugar as a symbol of happiness. But beneath the laughter and the sweetness, a quiet danger was growing. Humanity was consuming more than it understood, more than it needed, more than it could handle. Sugar was no longer a rare treasure, it was everywhere, in every drink, in every snack, in every hidden corner of modern diets, and so began the paradox of sugar. The very substance that brought joy also brought harm. It was the sweetness that masked bitterness, the pleasure that concealed pain. As societies industrialized, sugar became cheaper, more accessible, more addictive. Factories churned out candies, sodas, processed foods, each one laced with sugar, each one designed to hook the human brain into craving more. The body, wired for survival, was never prepared for this flood of sweetness. Evolution had taught us to seek sugar as energy, but industry had turned that instinct into a trap. Think of the child who takes their first sip of soda, the fizz dancing on their tongue, the sweetness exploding in their mouth. That moment is not just taste, it is chemistry, it is dopamine firing in the brain, it is the beginning of a cycle that will repeat again and again. Sugar does not simply feed hunger, it feeds desire, it feeds addiction. And yet, society celebrates it, markets it, glorifies it. Billboards shine with images of smiling faces holding sugary drinks, commercials echo with promises of happiness in every bite, and culture itself has been shaped to equate sugar with love, with reward, with comfort. Sugar enters the body like a silent guest, welcomed with joy yet carrying secrets that few understand. The moment it touches the tongue, receptors fire signals to the brain, announcing pleasure, announcing reward. It feels harmless, it feels delightful, but beneath that sweetness lies a complex biochemical story. The body does not simply taste sugar, it processes it, it transforms it, it battles with it. Every grain of sugar is energy, but energy that comes too fast, too concentrated, too overwhelming for the delicate balance of human physiology. When sugar dissolves into the bloodstream, glucose levels rise and the body responds with urgency. The pancreas releases insulin, the hormone designed to escort glucose into cells to store it, to use it for fuel. In moderation, the system is perfect, a dance of chemistry that sustains life. But when sugar floods the body in excess, the dance becomes chaos. Insulin surges again and again, cells grow resistant, and the body begins to falter. What was once energy becomes burden, what was once pleasure becomes poison. Think of the modern diet filled with sodas, candies, pastries, processed foods. Each bite is not just taste, it is a biochemical storm. The bloodstream is flooded, the pancreas is overworked, the cells are bombarded. Over time, this relentless cycle leads to insulin resistance, the precursor to diabetes. The body, once capable of balance, begins to lose control. Blood sugar remains high, damage spreads silently through vessels, through organs, through nerves. The sweetness that once symbolized joy now becomes the architect of suffering. Diabetes is not simply a disease, it is a story of imbalance, a story of the body overwhelmed by the very substance it was designed to handle in moderation. It creeps slowly, often unnoticed, until symptoms emerge: fatigue, thirst, blurred vision, wounds that heal too slowly. Behind these symptoms lies a deeper truth. Sugar has become a silent destroyer. The same substance that fuels celebrations now fuels illness. The same sweetness that lights up childhood now dims the vitality of adulthood. But sugar's impact is not limited to diabetes. It stretches into the heart, into the liver, into the very fabric of human health. Excess sugar contributes to obesity as the body stores unused glucose as fat. It burdens the liver, leading to fatty liver disease. It inflames the cardiovascular system, raising risks of heart attacks and strokes. It even reaches the brain, influencing mood, memory, and addiction. Sugar is not just a nutrient, it is a force that shapes the destiny of health. And yet society rarely sees this danger. Advertisements still glorify sugar, industries still profit from it, cultures still celebrate it. The science is clear, but the world is blinded by sweetness. The paradox continues: humanity consumes what harms it, celebrates what destroys it, embraces what betrays it. Sugar is not evil, but it is powerful, and power without control becomes destruction. Imagine the body as a temple, every organ a sacred chamber, every system a delicate harmony. Sugar enters this temple like a flood, washing through corridors, eroding foundations, weakening walls. The temple does not collapse overnight, but slowly, silently, until one day the damage is undeniable. This is the story of millions across the world, lives altered by the silent rise of sugar, health compromised by the sweetness that once felt so innocent. Sugar is not only a substance that enters the body, it is a force that enters the mind. It does not simply dissolve in blood, it dissolves in memory, in desire, in the deepest corners of human psychology. The first taste of sugar is not forgotten, it lingers, it imprints itself upon the brain like a spark that refuses to fade. That spark becomes craving, craving becomes habit, and habit becomes addiction. Sugar is not just food, it is a drug disguised as pleasure, a silent manipulator of human behavior. The brain is wired to seek reward, to chase pleasure, to repeat what feels good. Sugar hijacks this system with precision. Each bite triggers dopamine, the neurotransmitter of joy, the chemical of satisfaction. The brain lights up, the body relaxes, the soul feels comfort. But like all addictions, the comfort is temporary, the joy is fleeting, the satisfaction demands repetition. The more sugar consumed, the more the brain demands, the more the cycle tightens its grip. Think of the child who cries for candy, the adult who cannot resist dessert, the worker who reaches for soda in the middle of fatigue. These are not random choices, they are patterns carved by chemistry, by psychology, by addiction. Sugar whispers promises of relief, of energy, of happiness, but delivers only temporary highs followed by deeper lows. The crash after the sweetness is not just physical, it is emotional. Irritability, fatigue, sadness, all of them follow the fleeting joy of sugar. And so the cycle repeats: consume, crash, crave, consume again. This cycle is not weakness, it is design. The human brain evolved to seek sugar as survival, but modern abundance has turned survival into struggle. What was once rare is now everywhere, what was once precious is now cheap, what was once energy is now excess. The brain cannot distinguish between survival and indulgence, it only knows reward, it only knows craving. And so humanity finds itself trapped in a paradox, addicted to the very substance that harms it, unable to resist the sweetness that destroys it. Sugar addiction is not spoken of like alcohol or drugs, yet its grip is just as powerful. It does not carry the stigma of narcotics, it does not carry the warnings of cigarettes, but it carries consequences that are just as devastating. Obesity, diabetes, depression, all of them fueled by the silent addiction to sugar. And yet society laughs at cravings, celebrates desserts, glorifies indulgence. The addict is not seen as victim, but as participant in joy. The addiction is masked as culture, as tradition, as celebration. But beneath the laughter lies struggle. Millions wake each day promising themselves they will eat less sugar, they will resist temptation, they will change. And yet by evening the cravings return, the cycle repeats, the promise is broken. This is not failure, it is addiction. The brain does not surrender easily, the cravings do not fade quickly, the habits do not dissolve overnight. Sugar holds its victims with invisible chains, chains forged not of iron but of desire. Imagine the person who sits alone at night, exhausted, stressed, searching for comfort. They reach for chocolate, for ice cream, for soda. In that moment, sugar is not food, it is therapy, it is escape, it is relief. But the relief is temporary, the escape is illusion, the therapy is betrayal. The next morning, guilt arrives, health declines, energy fades. And yet the cycle continues because the craving is stronger than the guilt, the addiction louder than the logic. Sugar addiction is not just physical, it is emotional. It is tied to memories of childhood, to celebrations of family, to comfort in loneliness. It is tied to culture, to tradition, to identity. To resist sugar is not just to resist taste, it is to resist memory, to resist emotion, to resist society itself. That is why the struggle is so deep, why the addiction is so powerful, why the chains are so hard to break.